Hello, and a very good morning to Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Um, it's a morning session, and of course, we get to give you everything, all the updates over the weekend. What went on? There's something weird that went on with Pedri and then Barcelona. We're going to talk about it definitely. There is updates on Mauricio Pochettino and Chelsea and the plans that clearly have for him. People are already now beginning to know that Baghdad Ekbali is the one running the show behind the scenes and not Todd Bolly. The other things we'll talk about, Bayern Munich, there's of course Bayern Leverkusen, there's Paris Saint-Germain, there's Real Madrid, there's Barcelona. Like I said earlier, Italian Serie A yesterday, Napoli beats Juventus, and once Inter Milan gets a win tonight, they are going to open up the league in the Italian Serie A. It's going to be a huge job, and they have just a few games to go. Definitely, it looks as if they are going to win the Scudetto. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. If you've not subscribed to the channel, if you are new to the family, thank you very much for choosing us. It's imperative that you subscribe to the channel. So you should pause the video and then do so now. If you aren't new, if you are already known, thank you very much. Let's hear from you in the comment section, and then of course turn on your notifications. It's important so that once any content does drop, you are first to have it. Let us get into it. First off, so this morning there is multiple reports via the Athletic in the UK about why Mauricio Pochettino isn't going to be sacked. So according to Liam Tomey, he has picked up reports from Chelsea and entourages that what Mauricio Pochettino just has to do isn't about qualifying to Europe or playing the Champions League or whatnot. Essentially, what they expect to get from him is to be able to secure his job for the long term. They believe that they have a solid sporting structure in place. In fact, he did compare it to that of Liverpool and Manchester United and said that Chelsea is more stable. And I think I agree with him because if you look at Liverpool, of course, Jurgen is leaving at the end of the season. There's going to be a new manager. They are still struggling to get Michael Edwards onto their team as one of the members of the sporting directorship. If you look at people like that, look at teams like that, not having such personalities that they need. Mind you, over the summer, Jurgen came in with another sporting director guy who he had worked with someone in Germany. The report is that he is going to leave Liverpool also once Jurgen is leaving. So essentially, almost everybody in the sporting chain line will be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. There's also Pep Lingers is going to be leaving. The story of Manchester United is that the Ineos group just did come in. They are trying to build their sporting structure. They brought in Omar Berrada from Manchester City. They're trying to bring in Dan Ashworth in there into their team, and they are just starting the work. For Chelsea, Joe Schultz has been there for Manchester City for a while now. There has already been Winstanley and Vivell and Stewart already part of the group. Of course, we know that there was one who did not go for Garden, which was Vivell. Now, Stewart and Winstanley are there getting the job done. Mind you, Chelsea are open to add Jarrell from Brighton as part of also the scouting team. So, according to Baghdad Feliciani, and then of course Baghdad Ekbali, who represent clearly, who have now taken over the day-to-day running of Chelsea Football Club and not Todd Bolly, they believe that the team is on the right direction and it's a long-term project. And if you are a follower of me here or anyone on social media, I've consistently said that I agree with that assertion, that it's a matter of time. Immediately they decided to go on this tangent with this kind of players, with these young boys, then it was essentially going to take some time. It's going to take some polishing of some diamonds. It's going to take some time to see these players progress to the level that you want to see them. And that's essentially where they are. So it's in this that he was asked about Mauricio Pochettino and what Chelsea's plan is for him. I mean, essentially, they want to evaluate the work of Mauricio Pochettino with data. Of course, there's going to be data in contest at the end of the season. And of course, they can make conclusions not on Mauricio Pochettino, and then look at the general management of tensions, the fans, press, everything at the end of the season. Then call it on him or not at the end of the season. And I've said it several times that this summer is going to be the biggest summer transfer for managers. Because if you look through the scope, Barcelona needs a manager. So if you're a manager and gets sacked at the end of the season, it may not be a big deal after all. If Pochettino gets sacked at the end of the season, it may not be a big deal after all. He may end up in one of these teams. Bayern needs a manager, Barcelona needs a manager, Leverkusen will need a manager, Liverpool will need a manager, Newcastle will need a manager, Manchester United most likely with what Eric Ten Hag is going through may need a manager, Chelsea, if Pochettino is going, may need a manager. So there are 7 managerial slots in Italy also. I believe that AC Milan may need a manager. Luciano Spalletti not really getting exactly what they expected him to get. Of course, he has won the Scudetto seasons in the past, but they believe that it should have been continuous success like what Simeone Inzaghi is. I'll bet in Italy, they are more calm when it comes to managers and they don't just rush it. So it's going to be the biggest managerial summer incoming. In Italy, even with somebody like Massimiliano Allegri, if the AC Milan job comes, it looks as if that they are going to need another manager, which may not be as Massimiliano Allegri, with a loss last night also to Napoli. They want Juventus to rebuild, and in rebuilding process, whilst Juventus have done a good job, Allegri has done a good job. Is he the man to take them to the next level? And that's the big questions that the Bianconeri are asking in Italy. So all of these managerial openings are going to be there, and it takes me straight to the job that Xabi Alonso has done in Germany and how much of a solid manager he has been. And it's the reason why almost every team where Xavi has played in before would want to look at him. So you look at Liverpool and then Bayern straight up as the favorites to land Xabi Alonso, because Xavi is somebody that will be tied to the clubs that he's the legend with, that he has played before. At least he's going to get fans to back him to start with. He's going to get a team that he knows, a team culture that he knows, that he can build on that from and see how successful he can be as a manager. But even before we get to there, it has been brilliant for him. He has broken and set a new German unbeaten streak record in Germany yesterday. That excellent display where Leonardo and then Jeremy Frimpong got 2 goals for him. And it tells you getting goals from your wing backs is essentially one of the best that you can get in the 3-back system. And it is quality play across the field of play. Definitely at the end of the season, it looks as if with Bayern dropping points, it looks as if that Leverkusen are going to win the German Bundesliga. If he does, I think he's about just 3 or 4 games away from annexing the trophy. If he does, he's definitely going to move away from Leverkusen. Then there are lots of clubs. There's Bayern on the horizon. There's Liverpool. Liverpool are going to be without Jurgen Klopp. Once Jurgen goes, they want somebody to come in. But I think that Liverpool wants Michael Edwards to lead the charge. They want Michael Edwards to lead the charge. The charge of convincing who the next manager will be and then being the guy. They don't think that with just Xabi Alonso walking into the team, everything just changes. Again, on the part of FC Bayern Munich, I keep on saying, and I've said this months ago, I do not understand why they let go of Julian Nagelsmann. Julian is a group of young, excellent, exuberant managers who are on top of their job, one of the best in the world. And if you sack in the middle of the season and then bring in Thomas Tuchel later, who is supposedly supposed to have been one of the best managers in the world, but has filled with his temperament and what's not from almost every club that he has been in, and still he doesn't get results, they are in trouble. And I know that this week's Champions League is going to be a big call on Thomas Tuchel. If he doesn't take care and he doesn't qualify ahead of Lazio, he may be sacked. I mean, the plan is to let go of him in pathways at the end of the season. But if he doesn't take care this week, he loses out to Lazio in the Champions League. That may be it. Thomas Tuchel may be going in the German Bundesliga. For International Milan, they are playing tonight, and I've told you several times, one of the best teams in the world with automatisms. Excellent every phase of play for a team. Build up from the back, defensive structure, chance creation, overloading of wide areas, transitioning. They're excellent in everything that they do. And I think that it tells you how much of a work that Simeone Inzaghi has done at International Milan. Again, they played in the first leg of the Champions League at the Giuseppe Meazza, won by a goal to 0. They were excellent in how they dominated Atletico de Madrid. One of the best teams to face in the Champions League in Atletico de Madrid. It's difficult for them to go to Wanda Metropolitano and then do that or even better. They need to prevent Atletico from beating them. And I think that if we speak about teams that can go very far in this season's Champions League, Inter are part of it, and they can go very far in the Italian Serie A. Yesterday, Manchester United were humiliated and then humbled, essentially. I mean, it tells you straight up that not just any team can go to the Etihad and hold up Manchester City. They're very quality side. And I remember in the course of the game, I thought to myself that, maybe Manchester United have what it takes to hold up City in terms of packing the bus and being solid. But I don't think that they were good enough. At City, you need to apply pressure, at least to some level. Press them to some level. Be aggressive at certain levels. Hold them up at certain levels. And then be excellent in your transition. And it is something that Manchester United were able to do. especially after going up by a goal to 0. So before, I used to consistently say that Manchester United's issue are more sporting and structure-wise than just the team or just the manager. Eric Ten Hag, for some time now, keep on letting everybody know that he's not good enough. And yesterday was testament to that. That Eric Ten Hag has questions, huge question marks, and they are valid. They are valid questions around Eric Ten Hag. And for me, somebody that from the beginning was with Eric Ten Hag and believed that he didn't just wake up one morning and become a bad manager all of a sudden. It's tending to believe that Eric Ten Hag actually isn't good enough, and people are trying to do the analysis of him, and I think so. I want to give Eric Ten Hag one more summer, and then with the sporting directors they are getting, with Dan Ashworth and the likes, sit down, plan the summer, get proper players, discuss why you want them, then give him half a season and see how it goes. But I mean, essentially, when new owners come, and this one in the case of Ineos, who are in charge of the sporting direction of the club, they want to make their mark. They want their people at the helm, and that's what makes it more and more possible that Eric Ten Hag may go, because he's from the old regime where there was no Ineos at the time. This time there's Ineos, and there's a possibility that Ineos may be leaving. Eric Ten Hag may be leaving Manchester United, given the results that are not coming. If the results were coming, essentially, then you would agree that they have no choice but to keep him. But the results aren't coming. They're struggling to get results. They have issues in almost every phase of the game. They can't hold their own against the big boys, and that's what you expect of Manchester United. It's the biggest brand in English football. Of course, sometimes even can compete straight up with Real Madrid in terms of world football, and that's it. So I just do not know how Eric Ten Hag is going to weather the storm, but it is a tough time for him and his management team, and for me also, I kind of agree that Eric Ten Hag may not be the guy to take Manchester United to the next level. Albeit, I would want to be more cautious. I think that the hiring and firing is easy for everybody to do. It's a second season. He's still in Champions League places. He qualified the first one. He won. He played in the FA Cup final. I don't think that's essentially bad in itself. So we'll wait to see how that goes in the English Premier League. And yesterday, Pedri walked off injured, and of course there's Frankie de Jong. But for Pedri, it's a sad sight. It's an eyesore because again, Pedri has been overused and misused. You remember that time when he played for Barcelona? He went to play for the Spanish national team, came out to play the Spanish under 23 in the Olympics, and it tells you why were they overusing such a player. A huge talent, but doesn't seem to be fit, and it's accumulated fatigue. It's just like that. You can't overuse your muscle like that. You can't stress your muscle like that. At some point in time, it's going to get tired. It's going to ask to rest by itself if there's too much pressure on you. And if you watch Pedri, he puts in a lot of pace, a lot of aggression, chases the ball. That's a lot of the work that I think that the Spanish Federation and Barcelona need to answer questions on why Pedri has been misused. I think that this is what we'll do the getting on this morning's edition of Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. You can see how to run away from my night. I'll see you. Thank you very much for choosing me, and have a